Okay. My topic is on Joshua Boyle. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about this case, but I guess I'll just elaborate. Anyways, the year is 2012. Joshua Boyle is a Canadian-born man who decides to take a backpacking trip with his wife, Caitlin Coleman, through Central and South Asia. They started off in Russia and eventually ended up in a region of Taliban-controlled Afghanistan after touring a handful of other treacherous countries. As of now, it is unclear exactly why they decided to travel to a part of the world that is infamous for its level of violence and chaos. When asked why they did it, they said they were trying to bring aid to a part of the world that no aid workers and no government have ever been able to reach. Sadly, this noble effort was short-lived, and on October 8th, 2012, the Boyle family was abducted by the Haqqani Network, a terrorist organization with ties to the Taliban. Boyle's wife was 7 months pregnant at the time. In late 2012 or early 2013, Coleman gave birth to the family's first child while in captivity, as was the case for the family's 3 other subsequent children. Excuse me. During the time the Boyle family was held against their will, they suffered horrific atrocities, including the rape of Boyle's wife, which was carried out by one of the captors and officiated by 2 or more of the superiors of that organization. More disturbingly is the news of Boyle's infant daughter, who was murdered after Boyle refused to accept an offer from one of the superiors of the Haqqani Network. His daughter's name was Martyr. It is at this time unclear what offer Boyle refused to take from his aggressors, and has not yet elaborated on the subject matter of the offer or any other experiences while he remained confined. What we do know is that people involved in this plot were trying to get current Afghan statute or law removed or rewritten. They made several attempts to contact Canadian, U.S., and Afghan government with footage of Boyle and his family and hostages in hopes of changing these laws, but eventually failed and released the Boyle family. A lot of people commenting on this case have made it clear that they believe the whole situation is suspicious, and this is largely due to facts surrounding a person called Omar Khadr. Omar Khadr is a Canadian-born child soldier who was fighting with the Taliban and who was captured and sent to Guantanamo Bay. Joshua spent several years trying to help Omar and the Khadr family, and Omar was eventually released. In the months following, Joshua married Omar's sister, who he later divorced. This sparked a lot of rumors that Joshua had connections to terrorism, but were ultimately dismissed as false or unproven. The fact that the Boyle family was kidnapped and held for so long is a miraculous coincidence. No further details have come to light at this time. So the reason, in case you were wondering why, in case you guys were wondering why, the Canadian government didn't, go in and break them out, the number one reason is because Canada doesn't negotiate with terrorists. And this has been cited in many cases, including Amanda Linhow. I don't know if you guys know who that is. She was a journalist, an Albertan journalist. Some of you may be familiar. She was taken by Somalian gunmen in October 2008 and was held for a year and a half before being released. But not because Canada had anything to do with it. It was actually because of a private firm of some kind that her family ended up actually paying for her safe return. So the Canadian government wasn't even involved, and they pretty much made statements saying things like, our thoughts and prayers and yada yada. There are, and the second reason is there are areas of countries like Afghanistan where it's very difficult to secure a military presence due to the large amount of organized terrorist groups and just the sheer distance from any major capital city or center. Most of these terrorist groups set up in compounds in these areas for just this reason, and these are places you don't want to end up because of the likelihood of your safe return is obviously a lot less. And these are the areas that they were in like a mountainous region of Afghanistan. So, does anyone have any questions? There's not really a lot of details being released at this time, just because it's so new and like he doesn't, obviously because of the sensitivity, the nature of the content we're dealing with is he obviously doesn't really want to talk about it, so it's kind of hard to. Yeah, I dug pretty deep, but that's pretty much all I could get out of this. I thought this case was really interesting, so I thought I'd share it. So no one has any questions?
Are they like broadcasting this like on national media?
Yep, it's like on CNN, CTV, all the big guys. So, but like they all have like the same information. Like I went to all their sites and like they all have the same information, and there's like the same videos floating around. So one's just him at the Toronto International Airport answering questions where he made statements. I just didn't really feel like it was important to include those because he was so like heartbroken and like messed up from the death of his daughter that he was just babbling kind of. So I just didn't really want to include that. Mac?
And did you say why they were released, or?
I think that they just eventually like. I'm pretty sure they just eventually like gave up on it. Well, that's not true actually. They couldn't get what they didn't succeed in getting what they wanted. So the Pakistani like military, I think their secret service, came in and actually physically broke them out.
Oh.
I don't really know why they did it. Like, I mean, that seems like a stupid thing to say, but like, they obviously wanted to rescue them, but like normally, this wouldn't happen. It was a pretty bold effort, honestly. Like, that's a pretty bold move for the Pakistani like government to go in and actually break out people that aren't even from their country. But yeah. So, but yeah, these people have been there for 5 years, so that just goes to show like how difficult that actually is. Like, right? It's got to be worth risk and reward.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have any questions? Nope. I guess that's my speech. Thanks very much.